We do have one person with their hand up, but they are for the BOE hearing, so I believe that is why their hand is up. Other than that, not seeing anything.
Okay, if it's somebody's here for the Board of Equalization hearing, then we can certainly take their comment in the Board of Equalization hearing.
Okay.
So with that, we will now move from the Board of County Commissioners into the we're now sitting as a Board of Equalization. And we have 1, 2, 3, 7, 6 items on today. And the first one we'll take is case 23-27, Robbins BOE hearing PDF.
So that's Arthur and Deborah. So it looks like, let me promote them to panelist so they can.
Just a quick question. Is the packet material we received for Tuesday still up to date, or should I be reviewing material that's in the PDF?
I did send out some photos that were provided to me from Art that were sent via email.
Yeah, there's 2 emails from Donna on Robbins, and I have not opened those photographs yet, but I'm going to.
Oh, I see those. Thank you.
The agenda, they should also be in the packet.
I believe they came in just today.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So we will supplement the packet with those photographs.
Okay. Let's see. Download all. Okay. And I see Art and Deborah. Okay, Donna, do you want to head off with this one?
Sure, absolutely. We have Arthur and Deborah Robbins. I've been working with Arthur with photos and getting us some additional information, which I have provided to you guys. He did appeal, he protested to the assessor, a value of $905,220. We did adjust that to $869,490. Arthur and Deborah are looking for an additional adjustments. They did provide some sales during that period. I did take a look at those sales. Several of them were not Mountain Contemporary like their home. Their home is total square foot of living space. Some of the comps provided were the square footage they provided was basement, which is valued separately and differently because it's not actual square footage. And I think that's it. I did take a look at some of the pictures. And I had one question though for Art and Deb. Is your home Mountain Contemporary?
That's how we would describe it, yes.
Okay, beautiful. Okay, and because that's why when I looked at those comps and those weren't Mountain Contemporary, and those typically are higher valued higher. So, Randy,
What are the other choices?
they're usually like a traditional home, which is more square. Not Mountain Contemporary. Mountain Contemporaries typically are a little bit bigger than a traditional home. So with the Mountain Contemporaries, you'll see the roofs are like altered a little bit and so forth.
No, we have. Okay. But just, can I make a comment here?
In a moment, yes. Well, I think what we'll do is the way we did this last time was we let the assessor talk about everything that she had to say, and then we open it up to the owner's comment. And then we'll discuss it and have any questions for either one of you that we may. So but that could be now, Art, you're right. Donna, what else do you have to say about this case?
That's it.
Okay. So the short answer to that question, Art, was yes. You can talk now. Thanks.
Okay, first of all, I want you guys to know that we still, as of right now, have not received the letter that told us that the meeting was supposed to be 2 days ago at 1:30. And it's because they did not update the record that we filed with the county in person February 27th, changing our address for mail purposes. So I've had to rush through this and take pictures and get them online and get them emailed in there. I really don't appreciate being put under the gun like this.
Yeah, well, I can understand your concern. I'm sorry that that's happened. I'm not really sure how it happened. I know the intent was to get everything mailed to everybody, and it was mailed to the wrong address. And I don't know where that, I can't speak to where that happened or where it fell through. So,
Well, Deb is saying we did this 4 times, twice in person and twice via the internet and the mail. So I don't know, the left hand up there versus the right hand. Can't answer the question, Randy.
okay.
So where are we now? So today I mailed 8 emails with pictures. There are only a handful that are exterior, some of the driveway and the access to our property. The rest are primarily the interior to show that there's no window sills, there's no base, there's no case molding, none of that has been put in. The bathroom in the main bedroom is still not finished. We don't have the tub, none of that's done yet. The tile in the shower up there is all 4x4 tile, traditional, standard run-of-the-mill Aurora home type stuff that we did so we could get in under the permit requirement. You know, I got to tell you, between what you guys are doing with these tax rates and what the insurance industry is doing to us from that side, we're looking at almost a $10,000 a year payment. And we simply can't do that. You guys are going to force us right out of our retirement home.
Well, someone else may have another comment to make on us choosing to raise the rates. What we have.
Now, I understand.
I beg your pardon? You
I
understand?
understand it's not the county. I understand that the state is the one that sets the rates. I get that, but you guys have some latitude in this.
We have latitude to a point. We need to go by arm's length sales and how those of similar buildings and how those impact. There are certain ratings down underneath your that describe your home next to those, where something could change from an average to a fair condition as an example, or location. We can change certain conditions, but that's pretty much what we're limited to. And otherwise we're confined by state law to the factors that we can look at, especially when we do have comparables that are from arm's length sales that have to be in free market sales. So we're somewhat limited. So Donna, I'm asking for your recommended denial. Is that correct? And do you see any of the spots underneath 1519 Yankee Creek Road, which is their home, in which any of these ratings would be able to be changed?
Well, looking at some of the pictures, with some of the deferred maintenance, we can look at a condition. It's currently in an average condition. We could look at a fair condition until a permit's pulled in to do some of the updates that it needs.
Is that the condition for age category, the condo age?
Correct. With, in light of those photos showing some of the damage and deferred maintenance to the windows and so forth, we could look at a fair condition if they agree that it's in fair condition.
I'm just gonna jump in and ask a question here of Donna. And Art and Deb, good to see you. And totally understand where you're coming from. The way that property values have been increasing in Colorado is a challenge. We've sat through hours of people in the same situation as you are. And so, and as Randy said, we are very constrained. Our job is to be objective here and making sure that the valuation of your property is accurate and the process follows the law. Donna, when we were talking about this, because we did discuss this case on Tuesday, so I have two questions. One is, can someone remind me why we delayed? Was that just a notification thing, or was there some more information we needed?
I guess there was an address change that was submitted to a different department that we did not get in our department.
Okay, so just a notification thing.
Yeah.
Thank you. And then my next question is, the way I interpret the evidence about the lack of windowsills and I think you could maybe describe as the unfinished state of the home is maybe not in the condition. Condition is after construction, have you kept up with maintenance? There's another category that refers to quality, which is like, what's the quality of the construction? And it seems to me like there's clear evidence that the quality is not average. I believe the two categories below that are fair and poor.
Right.
I'll stop there and ask Donna, do you agree that we should be looking at quality, or is there an argument to be looking at condition, or both?
Are you asking me?
Yes.
Oh, condition would be for the age, for like deferred maintenance. The quality would be if it was built and never finished. So
Yes.
originally built.
I kind of see two things going on here. I think built and being only partially finished can easily take the quality, or excuse me, the condition for the age, the quality, excuse me, down to a fair. And then when you look at it, you know, if you came in and looked at those things still remaining unfinished, I mean, fair condition is something that's still really supposed to be, you would think of as finished, and this just simply isn't finished. And so it makes me, I mean, I almost equate seeing things like thresholds, you know, the tile is just as simply, you could say fair condition because it's an average tile. The tile looks, you know, okay, you know, but you're right, it's not fancy decorative tiles and stuff like that in the shower. So you could go to fair condition there for a home of that type and in that neighborhood. As far as the condition for its age, I kind of look at it and wonder if that isn't also potentially up for grabs, because the fact that it remains unfinished at this time, it's kind of like if you had a bunch of defective sills that you had to tear out and replace, and they were deferred maintenance. Without a windowsill there, that's not really much better, or maybe not even as good. So I could make the argument that you could rationalize it. Either one or both of those, I might be wrong about this, but either one of both of those might be able to apply in this case. And I'd be curious to know what happens, because I think you can do that on your, Donna, where you are, can you make either one or both of those changes and tell us what that does?
Yes. There's no change between the poor and the fair change. But for changing it, the condition to fair, and based on what I'm hearing, I think it's more condition than it is for quality, because those, at the time of the build, those windows would have been perfectly acceptable at that time. Or the way that the windowsills were built, but I'm not a maintenance contractor. But anyway, the condition to fair would drop the value to $777,490 with a condition of fair.
And I'm not suggesting that we necessarily do this, but in terms of quality, I think the intent of the quality, if it had been finished, would have been that it would have certainly been average quality. The fact that it was not finished, so if you did both of those, if you took both quality and condition age and took those both to fair, what does that then do to it?
we'd come in a value of 763,140.
So it's almost the same. Is that correct? Is
Correct.
that both of them?
That's taken both to fair, condition to fair and quality to fair would be 763,140.
Um,
What was the last
Um,
one?
and just to clarify, is that after having reduced the value based on the comps? Because I think when you looked at the comps, you saw that the value could justifiably be reduced from 905,000 to 869,000.
Correct.
Okay.
And the comps came in, the first one was 744,660. Am I looking at the right one?
Yeah.
Okay, and then we got the second one at 26 Hillside Road at 799,650. The comp that had the least adjustments is what we adjusted to, which is the 869,490. That home was that sale was very comparable to their home. And then the last one was 896,760. It located at 232 Stagecoach Boulevard. And
And
our problem here is we don't have a current picture of their home on our records or even a sketch on our records. So when he submitted those photos, they were helpful in determining, in my opinion, the condition at least.
And your methodology has been, and so to be consistent, I think you're applying this correctly here, that when you're looking at the comparables, you use all of the comparables to get a sense for it, and then tend to center on the value of the comparable that's most similar to the home.
That is correct.
And that would be, in this case, 900 Witter Gulch.
Correct.
And I support that methodology.
And then we treat everyone fair and equitable with every single one we run.
But what you did say is that by reducing that condition to fair, it's, you know, I had sworn when you said the quality, when you first changed quality to fair and left the condition as for its age as average, that it was a lower number than that number you gave us a little bit ago, which was 760 something, I think.
763,140 is taking your condition for age and your quality at time of build, both to fair, is 763,140.
Okay. I mean, off the top of my head, I don't know what else we could change.
We can't. And I'd be okay with the 763,140.
Randy, I don't know if you have our faces up. I would point to you that Art has his hand raised.
Yeah. Go ahead, Art.
I want to point out too, that we live right next door to the county shops. So, you know, the property is subject to all the noise and smells and everything that go on associated with that. You know, ideally, the best part about this place is that it's tucked into a south facing hill, which gives us a lot of sunlight. That's why there's so bloody many windows in this place, to take advantage of that. So
I see the location rating is already at fair, which is the next lowest. It's the second lowest category, and a location of poor would probably be something less than that. I mean, it's.
I just wanted to point that out.
Yeah. And I think I guess what I'm saying is I think the assessor's taken that into account in the fact that it's a fair rating. We have poor, fair, average, and
Good and very good.
What's that?
Good and very good.
Yeah, good and very good. I was going to say good and excellent, but I didn't think I was remembering correctly, and I wasn't. So I don't know how we can go to lower than a fair location rating on this, as I think about some of the other places in the county.
I agree with you.
And I think taking those other two down to fair to get the lowest, you know, reasonable price for the condition of the home and the way it was built, and the materials that were chosen is, because I don't think it's hard to go to poor looking at the pictures, it's hard for me to imagine it too poor when I think about some other homes in the county as well, and the condition of those homes. Trying to keep stuff fair. And I would also like to say that you're not alone in this. My property values have jumped by huge margins also, and in my condition of my home, and I'm not comparing like that, but I'm just saying we're across the board, all kinds of properties are seeing similar raises as a result of the real estate sales that have been going on throughout the state.
I don't know if it helps or not, but part of the issue here is the insurance. They've raised in 4 years, we've seen a $4,000 increase in annual increase in our insurance rates. And I've had a conversation with Representative Amabil about this. And apparently there's some work with that. And I don't know if it helps you guys. I'm not worried about this as far as our meeting here, but you might tuck this into your memory banks, that they have classified us as what they call Fire Line 9. And Representative Amabil says that's not right. They should not be using that as a guide. They're supposed to be using ISO standards, and they aren't. So that plays a role in a lot of the complaints I'm sure you guys are getting.
Yeah, we've heard those as well. And Representative Mobley is, I know she's at she's looking at a lot at fire danger and also at the insurance rates. So.
Yeah, I mean, it's a point well made. I have one more question for the petitioner, Mr. or Mrs. Robbins. I'm not seeing on the form, what was your estimate of the value?
With the estimate we had, just a second, I've got all that here. I think I came in at a little over 600. Yeah.
Okay.
$611,044.
Yeah. You
It's
know,
on page 2 of of this section of the PDF, their packet, the back side of the front page.
Oh, it's on that table that you provided. Okay. Yeah, so I'll just comment on that table you provided, just for the record, I think. What we have here, I see that you're adjusting for square feet. But what we don't have here is a number of the other criteria that we were looking at, related to estimating the quality of the build, the age, the condition for the age, the location rating, as well as, off the top of my head, I can't evaluate these addresses for, whether they're in your neighborhood. I assume the ones on Yankee Creek, for example, and Zaza Lane would be in the same neighborhood. But what I'm getting at is I don't think we have enough information from this table you provided, although it is informative, to decide to go with your estimated value of $611,000. I do think you made a compelling argument to reduce both the condition and the quality. And so I do support the new number of the new value of $763,140. So I just wanted to state that. And then I don't know, Randy, I guess kind of hear your response and then where you would take the rest of this hearing.
Yeah, that's kind of where that's what I implied a little bit ago, that I said I didn't think there was much else we could change on the form itself and in the guidelines, the criteria, as I look at it. And I'm happy to receive a motion if you think that's where we're at, George.
Yeah, I will move on case 23-27 that we adjust the value to $763,140. And I have one more comment after the motion.
Second. So discussion, and that's a good time for your comment.
It's not related to the motion.
You said after the motion, you mean after the vote?
Correct.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye. Thank you. I just want to mention, I've been mentioning this to everybody, that brings up being cost burdened, which is something that matters, and the legislature has been working on a lot. the program that they've created that I'm the most enthusiastic about, that's a source of relief, is called the Colorado Property Tax Deferral Program. If you look that up on Google, what it allows you to do is basically defer increases in your property tax bill until you sell the home. So that once you realize that increase in value, theoretically, you've got the money to pay the taxes back. So that may be a source of relief worth looking into.
Well, that would be acceptable if I knew that I could count on 763K being the tax base going forward, but I don't have a clue what next year or the 2 years out, what the assessed value is going to be on anything up here. And as I told, I think I wrote it in the appeal I filed 2 years ago. If I look straight to the south here, there's a 12,000 square foot house down here. There's a 6,000 square foot house around the corner. There are 4 modular homes on the hill above me. So, and my point is that they're all over the place up here. I don't know how in the world you guys do this. It would drive me nuts to try to figure out a fair value of this stuff. But, you know, we're stuck with what we can do. I pulled those 6 or 8 comps myself, and I've done it before. I've done it in Park County where we used to have a property. And, you know, we're just stuck with this stuff. And for whatever good it might do, George, there's a point where there needs to be a cap on some of these things. Because if you look at where we were prior to this notice, we've jumped value here $300,000 for the tax base. That's a huge hit. I don't know anybody here. I mean, if Norm and Liz up above us here, they're both retired. They're in their mid 70s. I don't know how they can cope with this kind of stuff.
My family has longevity.
Yeah, yeah, that's the other problem. If it was just a matter of, okay, finish the house, sell it and move on, that's one thing, but we're still taking care of her 94-year-old dad who lives just halfway between Morrison and Evergreen. So we're kind of stuck. And unless you want to use, got a couple $1 million in your pocket, I'm not moving in with him.
Well, thanks for your comments, Art.
Yeah.
And you're right. And the factors that you describe are those, again, that are they're common throughout the state and throughout the county. And it's at all levels. It's whether it's West Clear Creek, East Clear Creek, everywhere that we're seeing these tremendous jumps in value. So thank you for your time today. And I think we've had the vote and the decision, and we've got to get through about 5 more of them, but appreciate your coming in. And sorry about the confusion on the address and the inconvenience to your time. And in order to make this happen, we have a deadline that is an actual date deadline certain to get these accomplished, which is by tomorrow. So that's why we had to do it today, just to make sure we got them all done. And we really didn't want to take, in your absence, we really didn't want to take your case last Tuesday. We wanted to give another opportunity, since we had a few other people that we weren't quite sure why they didn't have it and why they weren't here, but we decided to give them a chance. So
well, we're blaming the USPS on this one. We've had nothing but fun with them for 30 years. So thanks for your time, folks.
thank you. So the next case we have is Evelyn Nevins and Richard Friend, Saddleback Ridge Estates, Block 5, Lot 7. And Donna, if you'd take that, we'd appreciate it.
Absolutely. We had it valued at, well, they protested to the assessor. Now they're at the BOE level. We had it valued at the assessor level at $803,650. We ran some comps and we did reduce it to $741,360 based on those comps. The first one was for 578 Meadowview, and it value came in at the $741,360. The second one was 1454 Ponderosa, and that came in at $839,410. And 15 Timberlane came in at $653,450, but it had $250,000 in adjustments trying to get that property similar to my subject. And then we have 434 Meadow Eve. And that one came in at 632 as well, and it had 167,000 adjustments. So we looked at the one that had the least adjustments, which was the 741,360. The other one was too high next to it with 839,410.
Mhm.
And is the applicant online or?
They are.
I gave
been-
them permission to talk. Eve, that was the closest name I could find to this person, so I'm assuming that's them.
Okay, thank you.
Can
So,
you,
yes, we
Okay.
can.
so all those comps are on primary county roads. I am way up in the boonies on a secondary county road. My house was built in 79. It's still the old 2x4 construction. I'm not sure what those are. So I would think the quality issue would kind of come into play here. And also I sustained $40,000 worth of flooded basement in 2013, which was never covered by insurance, and I have not been able to recover from that. So I'm gradually chipping away at trying to replace carpeting and shore up flooring.
Okay. I do note that the houses, the comps have build dates of 1978, 1976, 1985. So they are in, they're at similar ages at least, in 1970. So they're all either older or pretty close, with one exception. It's just a little bit newer than yours. Yours is, I think, 79, and this one of them was 1985. But the other three are all earlier builds than your house, are older.
And I don't know whether they've updated their windows, but my estimate to do that was $150,000. So
Yeah.
a little beyond my means.
And I would just adding to your sort of commentary here, Randy, it looks like the secondary gravel is the road type for all three of these comps.
Right, I saw the same thing.
But I do see that the condition is listed. I just want to be sure I'm looking at it. Yeah, the condition is listed as average. If you're talking about major flood damage that hasn't been repaired, probably want to reduce that. Is that in your mind, Randy or Donna? Is that in your
I
mind?
was
fair
thinking the same
or-
thing. I noticed the roads too, George. Thanks for bringing our attention back to that. And I was thinking the same thing about flood damage, that it would be fair at best if there is unrecovered flood damage in a portion of that square footage. I mean, I don't know how much the basement, the finished basement, is in addition to the square foot of living area. Is that correct?
It's half of the living area.
Donna, is this, when I see square feet of living area, does that include the finished basement?
Oh,
Yes,
it's separate.
I'm
On
asking-
our records, we have the square foot living area at 1922 and the finished basement at 1487.
For a total of about 3,400 square feet then.
Correct.
Okay. Well, what that does mean though is that somewhere around 40% of the house has been flooded and has not been able to be recovered yet. And that would be fair at best, I would think, on condition for the age. Would you agree with that, George?
I do, and I'm curious, Miss Friend, can you describe maybe the condition of the rest of the home that's not damaged, the state of the roof, etc.?
I think my roof is in pretty good shape. I put a metal roof on it. It's had some wind damage. But from being just 2x4 construction, and all the wind we get up here, I do have some drywall cracking and worried about some of those issues.
Okay. Thank you. I mean, Randy, you have more.
Places weren't built for 150-mile-an-hour winds like we sometimes get.
I would Since this is 1979, if you're saying you have 2x4 walls,
Yeah.
fiberglass insulation,
I imagine there's some in some places, but I can definitely feel wind through some of the other places.
yeah, okay. I'm just debating whether to go to fair on quality as well due to the 2x4 walls in that time frame. I know we were building, especially from the mountains, from an insulation standpoint and also wind load standpoint, we were building 2x6 walls for the most part on everything by then. Everything of substantial quality in the mountains and custom homes.
Yeah, it should have been.
Argue a fair quality. You could argue a fair quality with 2x4 construction, and a fair condition based on the flooding.
I think so. If you wanted to argue for poor condition, Randy, I would be open to that, but I know we have tended to reserve poor condition for fairly egregious cases. Donna, did I see, did you have something to say?
No, there's no value change between the poor and fair in this area.
Okay.
So it would just be a
Thank you.
coding for what we truly felt the home was. for
Yeah,
condition.
and I think to go to poor is, I mean, we have some places in the county that, I mean, that's our lowest rating. And we have some places in the county that are, practically falling down and the siding falling off the houses and all that other stuff. And I think we reserve poor generally for places that are that decrepit. And it wouldn't be very balanced for us to give poor in this particular case. I mean, I do agree that a flooded basement, not having seen it or photographs, but a flooded basement that has not been recovered is a pretty big hit to that largest square footage of the house. But again, it's we've got some pretty ramshackle places here too.
Without knowing that there's not a change in value, my preference is to stick with fair. I agree with you, Randy.
Okay.
So
Can you tell us what that revised price is to change those two categories to fair, Donna?
For condition and quality to fair would bring in a value of 678, 660.
Okay,
That sounds a lot more reasonable to me.
yeah, I mean, that's pretty close to your estimate of 650,000. So, okay, I mean, I can support that, Randy, if you can.
I can. You want to make a motion?
Yeah, Donna, will you repeat that number one more time while I get my pen out?
That number is 678, 660.
Okay, I move on case 23-12 that we adjust the value to 678,660 to better fit with the comparables and reflecting a change in the quality to fair and the condition to fair.
Second. We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Ms. Friend.
Thank you.
So the next item we have is it Pinello? Is that how you pronounce the name? Sergio and Eva Pinello.
This one I did not get a response on. We sent out the certified mail. Kayla had left a message and emailed. I left a message and emailed as well with no response.
I'm also not seeing anybody by that name in the attendees.
And this has been over a couple weeks. We've been trying to reach them. With
Okay.
messages left and emails sent. And I did correspond with them via email during the protest period. So I know we have a valid email.
So what they're saying in this letter that I see dated July 11th is they believe the value is between 350 and 375.
And this one has really, really good comparables. If you look at the comparables we ran on this, and
Oh,
he
yeah.
did provide me with some comparables. One was two of them are out of the base year. One's out of the county. One is a private sale. Then I have one that was out of the county and then an invalid sale. So none of the comparables provided. that he gave to us were valid sales.
I
Okay.
agree with that. Peter, do you have any comment? I saw you on mute. Do you have any comment on the notification status? I feel like this has been properly notified. And you're muted now.
I was going to tell you that I think it sounds like notice is valid. The board should move ahead and make a decision as if this was a no-show. If it turns out there really wasn't notice, we can always re-examine it, but I don't believe that's going to happen.
Yeah.
And I don't see in the testimony that was provided any contesting of the ratings. The condition is fair. That's already pretty low. And Donna, you're recommending.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm
I
sorry.
was just gonna say, and Donna, I believe you're recommending denial.
Correct. We have awesome comparables. We have 340 Chinook Road at 563,000. We have 79 Mackey Mine Road, 481,860. We got 481 Red Tail Ridge with 564,000. We've got 110 North Saddle Drive at 525,000, and then 381 Hamlin Gulch Road, 582. Great solid sales in this case.
So what you've actually done is given them a valuation that is lower than any of the comps.
Correct.
So you've given them a little more of a break there. Yeah, I'm ready to receive a motion.
I think denial is appropriate here. I move we, based on the assessor's recommendation, deny the case 23-17.
Second. We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye. Did we vote at the same time?
We did.
Okay.
I heard your voice.
I didn't catch yours. Yeah.
The next one we have is 23-29, Joseph and Sylvia Marin, St. Mary's subdivision, lot 278U2. And this is a vacant property. It has been valued at, it's about a third of an acre, and it's valued at $29,770. And they're asking for $15,000.
Okay, and this one, we have it valued at 29,770. We have the first comparable. There are all mining claims in that similar area, all water, none available. And we have the first one at 38,300, the second one at 31,730, the third one at 33,340, and then a fourth one at 35,670.
I noticed that the square foot of land is slightly different on the evaluation than it is on the actual notice of determination for some reason. Oh no, I'm looking at estimate of value. I'm sorry.
Okay,
There's estimate of value. I'm sorry. I misread the column. Okay, so still a little over a third of an acre. And that's in keeping with the other lots as well. They're all about the same size. Okay. Would the owner like to speak now? Ms. Marin? If you can unmute yourself. She's raising her hand. If you need, I think you need to unmute yourself. Megan, can you help with that? Is there anything you
Yeah.
can do?
Me?
There we go. We got him.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Am I on?
Yep, we can hear you.
We can hear.
Well, hopefully we'll keep this short. It's just 2 parcels of land in St. Mary's subdivision. And I hope I can keep it very meaningful. And I'd like to just make a statement and thank the staff, especially Donna, for all the help I did get and help clarify some points here and appreciate knowing more about your process here. I'm curious, are you able to see me? Because I don't.
I tried to promote you as a panelist, and if you say yes to that, then you can turn on your camera and we can see you.
I don't know how to do that then, I guess. How do I turn it on?
If you're on toward the bottom left of your screen, if you're on a computer.
I just sent you a request to promote you as a panelist and say yes to that.
Yes,
Okay. Perfect. And now you can turn on your camera and we can see you.
okay.
Did you click yes on your screen?
I just asked to start video, so hopefully they'll get a prompt.
And he has been moved over, so he's definitely there.
you
There we go. Hi.
Hello, okay, thank you. As far as I have the property records here that were sent to us and looking at lot or account number 5298. I really question the value here because the road is not really navigable in the winter. And I'm curious to see why it says no electricity. Of course, there's no house, no power on the property, but I've seen homes around the place that have power. I don't know about the sewer and the other stuff there that's listed as not available. And I really think this should be a lower value, largely in part because we're looking at a subdivision that was actually never completed. I'm trying to, okay, I guess I can't see you guys now. How do I make that happen? Hello?
We got you still.
Yeah, we can see you.
Okay, I can't see you. I did see you before, so. Do you know how to make that happen or?
You might have minimized us. I'm not sure.
Okay, my wife's the IT person. Let me see if she's available. Hey, I can't get your picture. Okay, we're gonna have to go without her. I think she left the premises. I started talking about St. Mary's. We purchased it was a family purchase back in 1969, shortly after the units were listed for sale. We expected a lot more and got a lot less. That's why I say there's a number of units that, like the one I just mentioned, that don't have utilities. The infrastructure and the roads are a mess. Because the subdivision was never really finished, it has the stigma associated with it, and we're very concerned about the future of the development also. I mean, seems like they can't keep up the property like it should be. Now lot number R5010, lot 70, is a lot different. It's like on a major road, and we don't have nearly the problems there, but I still think it's overvalued because, like I said, development really isn't finished. And what are we talking about? 54 years later. I did make a comment in some of the material that the drinking water was unsafe, but I subsequently discovered that that got corrected. We're looking at 165% increase on this particular parcel of water, that's lot 70, and 156% increase. Now, when I was talking to someone in the assessor's office, I asked, how many sales are there? And the response was there's 56 sales for St. Mary during that 18-month period. And I really question if we've got sufficient information in those sales. And I wanted to know if it was possible to get a listing of those sales by lot number and amount of sale. It's just unfortunate that the state of the development is what it is. And I don't know if we could even get a decent sales price for it. I felt that lot 70 would be lucky to get 24,000 for it, and the other lot probably 15,000 at best.
Well, what we have are 4 comps. The sales have to be, some sales are not what you call arm's length sales. They don't qualify because they were special solicitations or transfers and stuff. And so what the assessor does is find the arm's length sales made on the free market. And as I'm looking at this, I see that that, for example, secondary gravel versus 4-wheel, we have one 4-wheel property, 4-wheel access property like yours that sold for $33,340. And then we have 3 others that all sold in the 30s. They're on secondary gravel, and they had their price reduced from their sale price in order to compensate for that. So in other words, their price was your price. Their comparison was the price that their sale generated for you was reduced to compensate for that lack of secondary road and in your property. And so it seems like, and these are actual sales taking place in 2021 and 22, the desired period, that seem to be very similar to your property. Am I correct, Donna?
Yes.
So the condition of the St. Mary's development, notwithstanding those assertions, it appears that the fact is that the properties that are in the exact same place are selling for these prices because we see them closed at those prices.
For the sake of the record, I would add to that and just ask you to confirm, Donna. I believe, as Randy stated, all of these properties are in that same assessment area, correct?
I have the map up. I'll take a quick peek at a couple of them. Unit 2.
While she's looking at that, I'll just make another couple points. I see here that the assessed value of 29,770 is the lowest of the 5 properties, including the subject property. We've got 38,300, 31,730, 33,340 and 35,670 are the adjusted sale values, not the actual sales. Some of the actual sales were much higher. I think the comps support the value here, especially if Donna can confirm that St. Mary's, all of these properties are indeed in St. Mary's. Well, even if,
Absolutely.
okay. That was what I suspected, so.
Well, I have the lot plans from 54 years ago, and it shows in units 1, 2, and subdivision units 1, 2, and 3, there's 541 lots. And then I look at what I just mentioned, there's only 56 that were sold during that period. Is that reasonable to assume you have a sufficient number of lots to capture this valuation as you've got it stated here?
Absolutely. The state states we have to have a minimum of 32 sales.
Is it possible to get a listing of those 56?
I can mail it to you right now if you'd like. Mr. Marin, what is your email?
I would appreciate that. Given
and-
this information here, it looks like I hope to pass these lots on down to the family members, but I think I'm going to have to sell them with the increase in value. I think 165% is ridiculous.
We have seen extreme increases around the county, and I
That
do-
much? As high as 165%?
in this assessment area we have, yeah. And so I mean, I think this is reflective of the market. Sir, I do want to thank you for your compliment to Donna and her staff. Donna's an elected official, and this is her first year. She's been working really hard, and I'm really glad to hear she's been responsive to you.
Very responsive. It amazed me.
You're welcome.
And I appreciate knowing the process. I was totally unfamiliar with it, and I didn't know what a board of equalization was.
Well, I really don't see a place to make an adjustment here because the comparables, I mean, it's already given as an average rating for location, and so are all of the others that it's being compared to. 4-wheel drive, it's been given the 4-wheel drive road, which has knocked some of the comps down $6,170 off of the value from their sales prices. And the assessor has given a sales price value that is less than any of the comps generated that were the legal arm's length comps. So I'm probably going to agree with the assessor here. Well, I feel I should agree with the assessor in favor of denial, and I'd like to hear from Commissioner Marlin and see what his thoughts are.
I agree with you. I think we followed the law in the process here, and Mr. Marin, this is the our mandate is pretty narrow, right? What we do is we basically make sure that the assessor followed the law, that the property meets all of the conditions that were stated are accurate. I believe they are, and so I do support a denial here, Randy.
Okay.
Well, my question is if the development is not really finished, doesn't that have some bearing on it? I mean, people coming up there to look at it.
I think
It's
not in this
great
case. I think
to
not in this case. Go ahead.
No, it's a disgrace to see some of these lots with just trash in them.
I think,
To
yeah,
me, it's a negative appeal.
yeah, I think that's this. I would state that those lots might be selling for a lot more if they were in a different location that didn't have those conditions. But the fact is, we're comparing them to other lots that are in the same general location, in the same subdivision, with the same conditions, without water available. And these are the prices that people are buying them for. And so that is the fair market value, and we're required by law to establish a value that is reasonably similar to that. And in this case, we've done so again at a number that's lower than any of those other prices after adjustment for the dissimilarities. And so it's really what's happening to real estate values across Colorado. And we're bound by law to follow these criteria and these similarities in pricing to establish the value for your property. And there are plenty of places that are not even in subdivisions that sell for higher prices than this. I think this is just the market. This is what those lots up there are selling for.
If a development is unfinished, and you had a discussion about that earlier, pertaining to a home, is there some bearing or some rating or some way to rate it that it's unfinished?
I think the difficulty here is that that same condition applies to all of the comparables that we have. Unlike when we were talking about the home that had flood damage as an example, when the other homes did not report that. And so we don't, with vacant land, we have to look at the land and its similarities to the land around it and what those similar properties are actually selling for. Again, adjusting for dissimilarities, which we have done. So, yeah, I just want to state one last time that that the similarities of your property to these other properties that have sold for those prices are what create the conditions that we're compelled to follow by state law.
Yeah, well, you had a gentleman speaking about his lots at St. Mary's, and he said it's going to cost $150,000 for him to bring in utilities. This was his name was Cody, I believe.
I remember that case, and I agree with the assessor and Commissioner Wheelock here that that's the condition of all of these properties, and it's what they're selling for. So, Randy, if you're prepared to hear it.
I'm prepared for motion. Yes. Sorry, George. I mean to interrupt.
No, that's okay. And Mr. Maron, you have no further comment. I'm going to make a motion that we deny case 23-29 based on the assessor's recommendation and the information provided to us.
Second. We have a motion, a second. Do all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. You, Mr. Maron, you can stay on. The next item is also yours, which is
I covered both items.
I beg your pardon? We were voting on the first of those two lots.
Which one was that? Lot 270 or lot 278?
That was lot 278 that we just did.
Okay,
The next one is lot
70.
yeah, a second here. Lot 70, correct. And so now we're going to go into that lot and have a similar conversation. Don, so we'll follow the same protocol we did a little bit ago. First, the assessor will speak, and then after the assessor speaks, you can make your comments. I would like to say that as we go through this one, there are certain comments that there are certain kinds of factors that we're not able to take into consideration, and I would like for us to talk about what's pertinent and different, and not an iteration of exactly the same things as we talked about a little bit ago, which we're not allowed to consider. Donna, could you go ahead, please?
Yes, this one we have three comparables. First one was 52,550 with very minimal adjustment there. And our second one was 46,960. And then our last one was 55,340, all in the same area.
And this one comes in quite a bit. This one comes in considerably higher than the others. And I'm looking to see, oh, it has water available. That's one of the things I see.
That's
It's
correct.
on
That's a big
secondary.
factor.
No, sorry to interrupt you. I also see it's on a secondary gravel road.
Right, and it has a southern exposure as well, which the comparables do not. And I see that the actual prices those comparables sold for before adjustment were all higher than this lot, and that the adjusted totals are also higher than what the assessor has recommended that we use for evaluation. Mr. Marion, would you like to speak to this lot?
So it's in far better condition than the other one. My only comment would be it's in an unfinished development.
Understood, same as before, and these
It really concerns me that there's only 56 sales.
I beg your pardon, sir?
There are only 56 sales in St. Mary's, units 1, 2, and 3. I don't know about the other two subdivisions, but
I mean, 10% of the stock of a place selling in 2 years is not unreasonable in my mind, and it meets the statutory minimum. So
Right.
I'm not concerned about that one, but I do thank you for your comment.
okay.
Mr. Chair, I think that the comparables support the value here. I agree with the assessor's recommendation of denial.
As do I. I'm ready to entertain a motion.
I move we deny Board of Equalization case 23-30 based on the assessor's recommendation and the information provided.
Second, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I appreciate your time.
Thank you, Mr. Marion. So the next item we have, this will be the last one of the day, is Crabille Burr. And that is the Flagstaff Mine residential property. Donna, you want to take off with this one?
Yes, this one is on Turkey Gulch, which is not a fun road. We drove to it when the home was first finished. I did have it valued at 462,380. Then I dropped it down to 444,580 when we got a protest on it. And then I spoke with the homeowner when he was scheduled to appear in front of the BOE. We talked about it, and it is a cabin. So I did change that classification to cabin, and the value I have now is 295,010. It was just a new build. It was built in finished 2021. Comparing it with a cabin, I have the first comparable, which we used, which was the 295,10. Then we have the second one at 4156 Hidden Wilderness. It's, in a different area, but very similar conditions, difficult to get to and so forth. I have a value of that one at 351,930. 1420 Little Bear Creek, same thing, terrible road, just like this house sits, and it's valued at 483,350.
Okay. Can I make a request for one adjustment and one criteria? Well, before I say that, I'd like to listen to the owner of the land speak his piece and do it the same way we did the others. So what, if you could go ahead, sir.
All right, you guys are the most patient people I've ever dealt with in my entire life to go through this, and I appreciate it a lot. But I did just want a hearing. I just wanted to be heard a little bit. Originally, we bought the mining claims to build a seasonal cabin, and the reason for that is pretty obvious. I mean, it's the Floyd Hill backup when you're trying to get up there is immense, and then once you go to the mountains anymore, you can't find a place to camp. So basically, we bought a campground, I guess, and our intention was to build a seasonal cabin. We knew that the road would not sustain a year-round cabin, but we did want to follow the county regulations, and so we went to the building department and tried to figure out a way to build just a seasonal building. And basically, they required that we do everything. I don't remember the code, but it was like, I want to say 2018, but I think that was the house I built here in Jefferson County. So the code was probably 16 maybe. So, I mean, it's a very well-built building. And we followed all the requirements. We have all the electric is there, but it's not hooked up to anything. All the plumbing is there, but it's not hooked up to any water because there's no water available. We'd have to haul it up. And there we put in a septic system, which will probably never be used. The problem with the water issue is the road is not maintained. When Donna came up, we had maintained the road ourselves so we could get material up there in concrete to build the building. Since then, Donna, how many years ago was that? 3 years ago or so? Since then, the road has deteriorated. No one has done anything to it. And so the road is very bad. So it takes a 4-wheel drive vehicle, and basically my pickup, in low range is the only way I can get up there. And as soon as the first snow comes, you'll never get water up there. It'd be nearly impossible. I can chain up my Duramex GMC pickup on all fours and maybe get up there, but there's no way I'd ever be able to pull water up. So I guess my feeling is that it doesn't matter whether it was built in 1878 or it was built in 2016. It still is nothing more than a seasonal summer structure that is basically just a nice place to camp. After listening to all this, I realized I think you guys are restrained by the law, and there's probably no solution to this. But I did look at the comps, and Donna, I did not get all the comps. I only have 3 comps for some
That's
reason. Correct.
I can send you the sales list.
Oh, okay. Well, I wondered if there was a way, and I don't know that it would help or not, but 1420 Little Bear Creek Road. I looked that up on the satellite, and it appears like that's even a paved road. It's definitely a well-maintained road.
It's not paved. It's not. It's secondary gravel, I believe.
Okay, but it looks very well maintained. It's kind of like Trail Creek, and that's our way up to our cabin because Turkey Gulch, you can't get up Turkey Gulch hardly anymore. It's just deteriorated really to nothing. So we go the other way and come up Miner's Candle and then down to our property. But I guess I feel like that property, and I don't know how the adjustments work, but 425,000, it seems to me like that wouldn't even be in the equation because it's on a maintained road. I mean, I don't think the county's going to maintain our road ever. And if they did, you know what, I'd let you appraise it for 400 and whatever you wanted to. If they'd maintain my road, be glad to. But that makes all the difference in the world. The other 2 comps that I have is 4156 Hidden Wilderness Road. And that one says it all. That road doesn't look like a very good road. And it's valued at 80,000. And then the other one was 1721 Old Little Bear Creek Road. And it looks like maybe it's a maintained road. And it's 127,000. So I don't know how these numbers work, but it doesn't matter whether our house was built this year or in the 1800s. It still has no access in the 9 months out of the year.
Sir, I don't mean to interrupt you.
You're okay.
I do have a question. Does this have 1 bedroom and 1 bathroom?
Well, it does. Non-functional bathroom.
The bathroom without plumbing.
Well,
Correct.
no, everything is there, but there's no way to get water to it. So basically, what's the point?
Okay.
I mean, if you take water up there in the summertime, you'd have to drain it for the winter because it would freeze. So and I understand you guys are restrained by the laws, and maybe there's no solution. Maybe there's no category that this building could be put in. And if that's the case, that's what it is. It is what it is.
I have a few questions. The first thing, Donna, is that I see that under the type of road, that I don't see a road type for this property or for Little Bear Creek Road to know if there's an adjustment to be had there.
It's 736. Oh. His property, the 736 Turkey Gulch,
Yeah.
it is 4-wheel drive. And then the road rating is on the second page for the other 2 properties.
Oh,
It's just where it falls in when we run the report.
Okay.
I don't
So you
have.
can catch it. The second thing I would ask is this. I saw this the other day and I glanced at it and I've seen this house, not prowling. It's just that after the fire that was there a couple of years ago, we went up to inspect the fire site, and with the fire department and some other folks and sheriff, I believe, or at least fire department, and to investigate what had happened at that fire. And we ended up going right by this home. I remember it. And the thing I noticed is that it's sitting on stilts, correct? Does it sit on?
Yeah, it's a post and frame.
Yeah,
post and
yeah, right.
Construction, except for the garage. Garage is framed on concrete slab.
Okay.
Well, it has footers actually. It's setting on granite.
Right, and it's not hooked up to a water source, a well, or anything else, right?
No, there's no water source. There's, electric would be very prohibitive because you'd have to go straight down that to Trail Creek.
Right.
It'd be pricey.
So the reason I'm asking is I'm looking at the build quality down near the end, and I don't know that this will actually change the price though, because the assessor has already given you quite a break on it, where she's got a recommended value of 295,010, when the value that's actually generated by the system is 462,380. So
Wow.
Don, if you change the build condition to fair as an example, that wouldn't really change the price anyway, would it?
To change the quality being on the stilts and so forth, it would change it to 263,610. But
Yeah, go ahead. So just seeing that type of construction is what brings it to my mind.
Okay, well, that might help. What about the location? On here, it says it's fair. I mean, it's a nice location if you can get to it.
Well, we have others they're poor that have almost no access. This one at least has a road and access. Others, poor, usually doesn't even have access, or it's almost impossible. And there are people living up there, so they're able to get up. I think that's the issue with that, is trying to take it down to the very lowest level wouldn't imply people that are sitting on the side of a cliff or something like that,
Okay.
I thought, George, you had something you wanted to say though, I thought.
Oh, I just wanted to state for the record, I agreed with your assessment of the quality. And location rating of fair, I think I would describe it, I'll use the phrase you used earlier, fair at best.
Fair
Mr.
minus 4+.
Mr. Krebiel?
It's Crable.
Mr. Crable, help me understand other conditions about the location beyond the road. Is there any other testimony you want to provide about that specific location?
Well, there's some advantages, and that is that we've done all the fire mitigation. You know, a lot of the cabins up there haven't. I mean, there's things like that you know, the county required for us to do. I mean, it's a nice enough structure, but you just can't get to it. And that says it all. The road says it all.
I don't want to overprompt you here. Some other applicants talk about the state of neighboring properties. Do you have any testimony along those lines?
Well, we don't have many neighbors. But the neighbors that we do have tend to be of, how would I say it in a nice way, of the mountain type people variety.
And yeah, I mean, you know, our
and-
aside, I mean, I
And
don't know
there's-
precisely where you live, but I mean, what I hear from other people is, you know, the condition of the properties themselves.
Yeah, with vehicles sitting all over the place, and, you know, basically stuff just everywhere. And that's kind of the way it is. If you go up Miner's Candle, it's a little dicey. It's not real nice. We probably have the nicest house in the neighborhood, but we can't use it in the winter.
That wasn't a very good argument.
That wasn't.
The nicest house in the neighborhood.
Well, I mean,
Only
Sorry,
kidding. Only kidding.
if you're,
It is. Randy, my name's Randy also. So I just appreciate what you guys are doing. This is an interesting experience. I didn't realize that the state of Colorado dictated everything to you. So that's probably something that I need to talk to, since now I'm retired and I have a lot of time. I can find my county senator or whoever they are and have a chat with them. There's several things that I'd like to chat with them. So, but I've heard in a conversation earlier that potentially there's some thought that next year they would knock a little off because this was such a hit for everybody, that maybe next year there was going to be a little more of a break.
you're probably referring to a ballot measure that I think is outside the scope of this hearing. But
Okay.
yeah, I think you're hearing correctly. So, okay, Mr. Chair, I think, you know, I don't know, I wanted to dig in a little bit to the location, and not use my own local knowledge and kind of rely on evidence provided in the testimony. I don't know if that inspires any thoughts in you on the location rating. It's already listed as fair. That might be appropriate. Otherwise, I agree with the change, and I'm curious to hear, Donna, did you already state how the change of quality changes the value? You
Change
did.
quality to fair, and fair and poor are the same. There are no rating changes for location from fair to poor. Only for four-wheel drive, which we have it at, and we have 263, 610.
And that's with a build quality 263, 610 of fair.
Changing quality to fair, correct.
Okay.
And that cabin, keeping that cabin.
And then
Thank you, Donna.
Yeah, you're welcome.
It's good to see your face here.
Thank you,
all
you
in-
too.
We're all in more comfortable positions than we were the other day, right?
Right.
And I have one other question for you, Donna. I'm seeing bathrooms, and if it's built with a bathroom, it's built with a bathroom, I guess. And I do see that other cabins in similar condition as far as you know, not. I actually don't know. I think a cabin by definition does not have water. Is that correct?
Well, it depends, because they can have, what are those things with that they fill up the water with, they're 50 gallons.
Oh, the tanks.
Yeah.
So here's my question, I guess, is a cabin can have a bathroom, right? Like
It
if it
can.
has a bathroom, it has a bathroom for the assessment, right? Is that
That's correct.
okay?
Because it could be self-composing. There's a couple different types that are out there for cabins.
That's the only other thing I wanted to dig into. Otherwise, I think I'm prepared to support based on your review of the comparables and the change of that quality of construction. Randy, thank you for pointing that out, of 263,610.
Yeah, I'm good with that. So I'm ready for a motion.
Okay, I move we adjust the value on case 23-32 to $263,610 to reflect a change in the property from traditional design to cabin design, construction quality from average to fair, and a review of the comps.
Can I get that number? 260?
263,610.
Okay, thank you, guys.
You're welcome. Nice to see you,
And
Randy.
good, I just don't want the taxes to become so burdensome that my grandkids can't enjoy this cabin, because I kind of built it for the future generations. I'm a builder. I'm a builder down here too, Randy, so I feel your pain.
I second George's motion, and we now have a motion and a second. So all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. There we go.
Are we done for the day?
Thank you, Randy. I don't get to say that very often.
All right, thank you.
Well, thank you, Randy's. I don't get to say that often either. And we are done for the day, although that's the chair's
Okay.
prerogative to state.
Oh, wow, we got somebody new on here. Hi,
Hi. I've been here the whole time, but my thing's been off.
you're the
In the
one that keeps everybody straight, probably, right?
I like to think so.
Yeah,
That's
okay.
got it.
All right, very good. All right, bye, folks. Thank you for doing this. And
Thank you.
Thank you.
we really like Donna. She's great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
So with that, I think we've concluded our Board of Equalization agenda. And so we'll move from the Board of Equalization back into the Board of County Commissioners, at which time I will welcome any further comments before saying we are adjourned for the day.
I just gratitude once again to our staff for showing up on a day off, and especially to you, Donna. This is your first year. You had a ton of cases. You provided us organized packets and pretty well evidenced cases, and provided answers to a lot of interesting questions on the fly. So I just want to thank you.
You're welcome.
Now that was it was pretty impressive when you're able to fire out these lists of these people. I'll email them to you right now in the middle of your hearing.
And I did.
That's yeah, I really do appreciate that. And you got a lot of experience this year, didn't you?
I sure did. I sure did. It made some nice people out along the way.
Good.
Yeah. Well, thank
All
you
right.
guys. I really appreciate y'all, and Peter for coming into on your day off, and you guys as well. So thank you.
Thank you. Let's enjoy the balance of the, let's move in towards the weekend, I would say. So we are now, we're adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you guys. Enjoy your weekend.